Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty Roundtable Radio Talk Show.
Welcome back to Liberty Roundtable Live. It's top of the second hour. Hour one in the can with your host, Sam Bushman, and along for the ride today, the big team, of course, myself, Lance Migliaccio, and my brother from another mother, George Ballantine. We are digging into the new government spending bill and all the new fraud being uncovered by Doge, and it's crazy. As usual, nobody's happy. We've all got our own opinions about what should happen and what could happen. Of course, it's only been 60 or 90 days. But the unsettling part is as we dig in further, there are more stories of theft, corruption, and grift. Biden cronies, this one's a biggie, man. They cash in. Vaccine company registered to a P.O. box run by ex-Biden staffers at the end of the Biden term, cash in for a quick $28.2 milli. I'm talking about $28 million in the admin's final months. And this company's never done any research, and this is supposed to be for vaccine research, Sam. What do you think of this? This just sounds like a little quick dip into the cookie jar on your way out of the kitchen.
So I got a question for you. If we're going to go ahead and fund things as usual, are they going to get a little piece of that pie there, George? Lance? Are they going to get a piece of that pie over there at this new vaccine place?
We ain't getting anything. Listen, I don't
no,
want to be part
look, they got $28 million or whatever they did right at the close of Biden's tenure, right? Now they say we're going to basically continue. The CR is going to just spend kind of per usual. Is there going to be more money going to that, Lance, you think?
You know, I have no idea. At the end of the day, my theory, claw it all back, charge all these people criminally. Let's see some indictments and arrests. I mean, if I have one of the biggest complaints about this administration right now, I was already hoping for some indictments and some
we haven't seen
3 a.m. no knock warrants and arrests. We haven't seen anything. And in fact, I'm not thrilled at the moment. Maybe I'm pulling the judgment card too early. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm Pavlov's dog. Maybe I've been too conditioned about the last 9 years. But
wait a minute. They're Pavlov's dog for continuing to leave it alone. Pam Bondi got snookered and mocked, and that's all she's done.
Yeah, the Pam Bondi thing. I'm trying to reserve. I'm trying to be hesitant. I'm trying to reserve a little bit of judgment. But I hear what you're saying about the spending bill. But listen, it doesn't surprise me that that they haven't focused on fixing this in the first 60 days. I assume that they're really overwhelmed with what they're discovering. And from the reaction of Elon Musk, it sounds like it's even much worse than what he's saying. There was an interview on Joe Rogan where he said he was basically afraid to expose all of it. That, in fact, he felt like his safety and security would be at risk, that he would become a target for assassination.
Who would be?
Elon Musk.
And he's not already?
He felt like the amount of corruption he discovered was so bad that if he disclosed all of it immediately, that they would instantly target him. And he wasn't sure he could.
Well, why don't you hold on? Why don't you not disclose it to the public and let the media manipulate it? Why don't you just start arresting people and let the arresting officers tell the story?
I agree. And that's exactly my point.
That's what I mean. This is clown show. We're running around. We're afraid of our shadow, and because we're hesitant to take on the deep state, because we're afraid the deep state's deeper than we think, then we're going to go ahead and not take on the deep state. Well, the deep state will swamp you if you let up just a bit. Okay, it reminds me of being in the military, and let's say you're flat out at war, and you're like, hey, I know I'm looking down my rifle sniper scope, and I see another sniper about to kill some people. I don't want to take them out right now. I got to hesitate. Well, you hesitate, you've lost. They're going to lose because they're hesitating so much now that we want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, 6, 9, 12 months. So my question is this, and I don't even know how to know the answer to the question. Are we funding this new, quote, vaccine company without any credentials, with weird shifting leadership? Is part of the funding going to go to that?
I mean, there's no way for me to know without having read the spending bill from cover to cover. I would hope not, but again, hoping.
Hold on. And even if it's not in the spending bill, just so you know, here's how government works. When they shut down government, a lot of times, most government services still continue. You know that, right?
Correct.
So it doesn't even have to be in the bill to be continued. You'll never know unless you have some way to go find that line item and make sure no one's sending checks to that group, right? Otherwise, you won't know. Because what happens if in 6 years or 2 years or whenever, then someone says, oh, yeah, you know that fake vaccine company we created? Everybody, so-and-so in the administration for Donald was really a Trump, for Trump was really a Biden guy, and they sent the check anyway. I mean, that's what they did in USAID. All kinds of checks got sent to all kinds of places that were never approved, right? So this will be no different. And so we don't even know if money's going to this. That's why the only solution is to shut it down and line item by line item, single issue bills, fund government. There's no other way that will be productive, or you'll just be lied to, like Pam Bondi. They're like, oh, yeah, we turned over the documents. Turned out to be a big old nothing burger on Jeffrey Epstein. And now she's like, I got it all.
Binders, Sam? You didn't get one of the binders?
No. No, but even if you did, it didn't say anything.
Yeah, there was nothing in there that wasn't already out.
And now Pam says she's got all the goods for sure, right? Do you believe her?
No, I mean, now she wants to redact it. She said it, and this is what I can't figure out. When did human trafficking and pedophilia and child trafficking become national security interests? They're saying they're going to have to redact it for national security interests. Now, explain it. Can you explain that to me? Because I'm struggling with that one.
Yeah. Yeah, you ready? The deep state that's going to continue the continuing resolution, half of those people will be in prison. And so you need to continue the resolution so that nobody riots, nobody gets crazy, and then you got to redact everybody so no one gets in trouble. And the deep state's just won.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
We're not taking on the deep state.
Promises made are not being promises kept at this time, and I think they need to move swiftly. I think the American people in general, and I even think it's affecting both sides of the aisle because I see the reaction on social media. They're getting angrier and angrier because they want to see some arrests. They want to see some people getting taken down. And they feel like it seems like
no one's going to arrest anybody, dude.
Well, they think they've got all this time in the world. And the truth is that the American public online is getting angrier and angry as no arrests occur.
Anyway, I just don't know how to respond. I don't even know how to respond. But Joni Ernst speaking out about this, and I appreciate Joni speaking out about this vaccine company. She has a lot of details. But here's my question. Why is it just one congresswoman speaking out about this? Shouldn't we have like 300 going to the media going, hey, man, this is clown show. Stop it now, and let's put people in jail? I mean, why poor Joni is out there by herself?
Yeah, I agree.
What?
I agree. She's just struggling. I mean, this report she came out, and then this company's barely in existence. They were registered in Maryland. It's a post office box. They've never done any business. And I'm trying to figure out how they've been awarded this $28 million contract to supposedly do vaccine research on flaviviruses, which are like the Zika and the dengue fever virus. They've never done any research at all. It's a brand new company. How did they qualify for a $28.2 million award?
Easy. Let's say that I'm Joe. That's right, the check.
No, you go golfing and somebody else writes the check and signs it, Sam.
Yeah. In fact, you do an auto pen, George. Just auto pen it all.
Exactly.
See, this is what I mean, though. The only way to stop all that is to stop government and approve, line item by line item, the legitimacy of government. What's the most important thing that needs to be funded? Good. Let's create an up and down bill for it. Let's vote for it. Let's be transparent. Let's put on record publicly who's for it and against it. If you stand against something that's constitutional and a legitimate expense, then we want to target you for removal from office because you're a clown.
Yeah.
Well, see, they're not doing any of that stuff.
I guess I'm going to have to hope, ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. I'm going to sit here and wait, I guess, because I don't know what else I can do at this point. I think we've already done it through alt media. We've made as big a stink as we could possibly make. We got Donald Trump in there. Is he going to solve it? Are they going to make some moves? Are there going to be some arrests? I don't know. I was always hoping that there'd be swift accountability and consequences. I mean, it's easy enough to target people like the dirty 51+8 from the Russian collusion hoax and all those senators and congressmen that lied. How come they weren't wrapped up week 2? Throw some handcuffs on them, make it public, have CNN out there when they're dragging them out of their houses at 3 a.m. That's the kind of example I want to see. But, maybe I'm just maybe I'm an extremist. I don't know.
Well, and if you have the auto pen signing documents, so
Yeah.
the president of the United States never really signed them. Somebody did on his behalf with an auto pen. That alone should be people being thrown in jail.
Well, I'm thinking about ordering an auto pen so I can give Liberty Roundtable Live and the Big Mig Show some grants, because I think we just decided we're going to go into vaccine research. I'm going to get $50 million to Liberty Roundtable. You guys can do some research on the cold virus, and George and I'll do some. We'll do some STD virus research, and we'll get $50 million for us, and then we're good to go.
Now they say that the Biden administration funneled at least $1 trillion into diversity, equity, and inclusion. Let's talk about that, because this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so are we going to continue funding that in this new CR?
I hope not.
Hell
that part
no,
of it?
they stopped all that.
I mean, this
Supposedly,
is $1
I don't
trillion.
know. We haven't read the 99-page bill. So, but I would say, if I was a betting man, put odds, I would bet on that the GOP does not have any DEI funding in that bill. Because if they did, there would be massive, massive pushback.
Okay, so listen to this, though, George. They say the study identifies 460 programs across 24 government agencies that diverted resources to the DEI initiatives. They say that they've implemented it into every aspect of government. You're telling me that they were not able to reduce spending because they don't have enough time. But they had enough time to go through all that and make sure there's no funding going to that, right?
Wait, who said they
That
didn't
makes sense,
reduce
people.
spending? They said well, according to the GOP in this bill, they said they reduced it.
How much?
I didn't read the whole thing yet, Sam. So, but you do know that Trump dismantled every DEI initiative and anything within the government. I mean, they just
I think that he said he was
dismantled
going.
Black Lives Matter
I think in the news he said he was going to. I don't think it's done at all. I think he said so.
Well, I think that might be pure
and I believe him.
speculation. We really don't
This
know.
is not an
since we haven't
attack.
read the bill.
Well, no, I mean,
Well,
from Well, from
Hold
our
on, forget the
secretaries,
bill for a second. Listen carefully. Forget the bill for a second.
I was going to go
Listen
to something
closely.
else.
You don't need the bill to know this. Biden administration funneled $1 trillion into diversity and equity and inclusion, all that kind of stuff. They said 460 government programs across 24 different government agencies diverted resources to this agenda. So if you stop the funding for that going forward, then you save $1 trillion, right?
Well, I don't know if you can save the money that happened in the past. So I don't know if you can save $1 trillion, but you can sure save the waste moving forward, because some of these programs, I don't even know how you claw the money back. They said FEMA, for example, found a need to install equity
He's not talking about clawing the money back. He's talking about going forward.
But I'm saying, but you won't save $1 trillion moving forward necessarily. Maybe the next move forward is $100 million. I don't know, but I mean, when you start thinking about what they said, that the FEMA said they need to install equity as a foundation of emergency management. What the hell does equity or DEI have to do with people that are suffering from, catastrophic events? Nothing. It's ridiculous. But the point is, it was just another way to steal money. We've seen these programs divert money before. I'm sure that they had to hire an expert consulting firm owned by some congressional family member, and that's how they decided how to create a foundation of emergency management. But I don't think you're going to save $1 trillion moving forward. What you're hoping to do is not save it. Maybe you can stop. Maybe let's say they stopped some of these programs mid-stride. We don't know if they did, but let's assume they did. Maybe they saved $500 billion of the trillion, and then they're going to save what else is moving forward. But you won't save the trillion, because I know these scammy sons of guns, they probably already took a bunch of the money and it's sitting in offshore accounts by now.
No, I got it. So how much less are we spending in the next 6 months? What's the total bill?
No idea, but none of us on this radio show read the entire bill. So how do we know that unless we decided to read all of it?
But even if you read the entire bill, how do you know? Because there's a lot of expenditures that continue that aren't part of the bill, whether you shut down government or not, or whether you fund a CR or not. Significant portions of government continue anyway. So even reading the bill won't tell you.
What I think we have is what appears to be, at the face of it, an intent for transparency through processes like Elon Musk and Doge. Do I believe it 100%? No. I'm the show me state guy at this point with government, and it doesn't matter what side of the aisle I'm talking about. I don't think any of us can decide whether or not they're being fully transparent, because I think the likelihood is no. Even if it isn't intentional, it could just be by the fact of the timeline, negligence, or ignorance that they're not being fully transparent. So I don't think any of us can come to a conclusion whether they're being completely transparent or not, because we're not doing the audit. But I'll guarantee you, if you stuck Sam Bushman and myself in there, I'd go line by line on this garbage, and I would start seizing assets. I would start cleaning out people's bank accounts, seizing their real estate, seizing their retirement accounts, and I would figure out how to get all this money back. I wouldn't allow it to go forward the way it is. Maybe some of it wouldn't be, you couldn't find all of it. But I guarantee one thing, it would be completely different. But can we expect that out of the gate? They've been destroying this country for decades. Can we assume that Donald Trump in 60 or 90 days can fix all of it? Absolutely not. That would be ludicrous.
Yeah, so they say this latest CR is going to spend $1.66 trillion. And I'm thinking $1.6 trillion. I don't see how we're saving money.
I wonder what it was last year at this time.
Well, I don't know.
How much was the bill for the last
if you don't
year?
know, how do you know if we're not saving money?
Well, that's what I'm telling you. You don't know we're saving money. You're assuming we're saving money, and I'm telling you I don't think we are, and I don't know that we can know. That's my whole point. That's the reason you got to shut down government, and you got to fund the proper role of government one line at a time, or you can't know.
Yeah, but, Sam, I just don't believe with the amount of waste and theft and grift and corruption that you could fix this in 60 or 90 days. I don't believe it's possible. So I personally think that us making a judgment on whether the CR should have been funded one way or the other is pretty difficult at this point, because I think they've gone into – I think they've identified that this is so much worse than anybody's expectations. Elon Musk his trepidation in that Joe Rogan interview, he was almost like – I would almost say like shaking in a way. You could see that he found some stuff that was so absolutely awful that he didn't even want to discuss it, to the point that Joe kind of had this uneasy laugh because he realized that Musk was being serious. And we're talking about the guy that's the richest guy in the world. He's got private armed security. I understand they're now carrying SMGs, small, machine guns besides the pistols they're carrying, because they think that the threat to him is that likely. When a guy that's the richest guy in the world is going to be worried about something happening to him, then what he's finding has got to be dark. I just don't think we can assume that the CR could have been fixed in the first 60, 90 days. So I think you're stuck moving forward. Although I wouldn't care if they shut down government or not, because this isn't the government I bought into. This isn't what the founders and framers wanted. This is an incestuous, festering pool of division, chaos, and hate. So it's not the government I want, but I don't know that you can fix it this quickly. Although I know this: one way to stop these people dead in their tracks is fear. And by snatching up some Nancy Pelosi's or some Adam Schiff's or the Dirty 51+8 or other individuals that are involved in crimes that we know about, election fraud and otherwise, and slamming them into Gitmo, watch how quickly a lot of this stuff stops. Watch how quickly some of them move out of the country and just disappear or try to disappear. I think that's the problem. I think this has to be a swift hammer of justice if you want to fix this government, and that includes the economic side of it.
Yeah, they're increasing spending on some health care provisions as well. One of the biggest ones is they're continuing to fund Planned Parenthood.
In that bill?
See, I just can't go along with that kind of stuff. Yeah. They're not shutting down funding for Planned Parenthood. If they were shutting down funding for Planned Parenthood, but the mainstream press would make sure you know, George.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
This is what I'm getting at, is that we're all being punked. Now, can somebody email me a link to the bill? I'd love to read it. I can't even find the bill.
Which is terrible in itself. That should be an automatic that bill's posted up.
Well, it's not
And
fully
even if I
passed
find the
yet.
bill,
Senate didn't pass it yet, so.
I know. So even if I find the bill, gentlemen,
No,
it's
but
going to be
George,
changed.
shouldn't the bill be up there preemptively that we can read it?
If you
Shouldn't
probably
it be
go
up
to
there
the government site where they have the bills posted, where they show it's passed House vote and is waiting Senate, it should be there.
Yeah, if somebody could send it to me, I'm not able to find it. And even if I read that 99-page bill, is it going to change?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
Is it
Yes,
going to
it is going to
change?
change. Well, yeah, they're going to have the Senate has a bill too that's totally different. They're going to have to work out their differences and come up with a final bill. And if it changes, they're going to have to repass it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you realize how long you have till this is supposed to happen, gentlemen?
No.
What do they say? Friday night,
Friday.
the 14th.
And that's the key, right? That's how they commit the
So,
fraud. Because
so
they
how are you
act
going to
like
read
they're
this thing by Friday?
You're not.
Hold on. How are you going to read this by Friday if you don't have the last version?
But that's you're not going to read it. The problem is that's the system
Okay.
right now, and it's
So everybody's telling me I
completely
need to read
flawed.
it so that I can know and explain it and talk about it and tell you what's happening and what's not. And that's not even possible, right?
No, absolutely.
You want to know why it's not possible? Because they don't want you to read it. They don't want you to know. They don't want you to be able to break it down and be accountable and cover it. They don't want that until it's too late. You got to pass it to know what's in it, gentlemen. They've told us that for years, right? So think about that. That's what I'm saying is that nobody should vote yes on this bill. Would you vote yes on a bill that you haven't been able to read completely? Let me ask you that next question.
I mean, no.
Okay, so you're going to vote no now.
No. I said I thought I misunderstood the question. I would still vote yes.
Even though you haven't read it.
The difference is, I as a congressional member, I might have read it cover to cover. I might have spent the time to read it. I probably would have. Knowing me, I would have sat there if I had to stay up all night. And I would have.
Well,
read
hold on. You have aides, and you give each aide a certain sections, and they give you the breakdown of it. That's how most of them are doing. You think a congressperson is reading the whole thing themselves?
I'm not going to let my aide. I'm not going to let my aide decide if I'm going to sign a bill or not.
Who said
I've
you're
got to be able to read it, or I'm voting no, gentlemen. So if you're filling out a big, loan for your business or a mortgage or something like that, if I read it and tell you it's cool, are you going to sign it, George?
If what? I'm sorry, say it again.
If I read it and I tell you it's cool, are you going to sign it?
If you read it and you say it's cool, well, I mean, I trust you, Sam.
And I would suggest you don't sign it unless you've read it yourself and you know what you're agreeing to. And if you don't have time to do that, then you need to vote no. And the sooner the Congress critters would do that, the sooner this clown show would stop. Until then, it's never going to change, gentlemen. Never. Because people are signing bills that they don't even know what's in it. They've never read them. They don't have any idea. Right? Think about that. They say this. The latest headline I see from last week says this. Listen carefully. The Senate passes budget resolution. The House plans to vote on their own resolution next week. So now you've literally got two different resolutions that they both passed, and now they got to work on working out the differences and then repass the bill. You'll never have time to read it by the time you have to vote. That's intentional. If you do piecemeal legislation like I'm talking about, you could read every one of them, right? Just saying. All right, hang tight. We'll come back. George will start out. We're talking about hard-hitting subjects, ladies and gentlemen. And we may not always agree. That's okay. This is America, the land of the free, where you have the right to think what you want to. At least you should, right? This is America, folks. There's no country on the planet like it. And thank the heavens. But let's make sure it stays its unique, God-ordained, free country. Hang tight.
Protecting your liberties. You're listening to Liberty News Radio.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Senate Republicans optimistic they'll be able to pass a Trump-endorsed continuing resolution to keep the government up and running through September.
Senator Marsha Blackburn says there's only one reason for Democrats not to support the bill.
Schumer wants another Schumer shutdown.
Because she says he's hoping that would make President Trump and the Republicans look bad.
But he's just so wrong on this.
Wrong about how the voting public would respond to a shutdown. After all, Blackburn says poll after poll shows
the American people agree with the steps that we're taking to get this economy back on track.
A vote is expected as soon as Republicans can muster the handful of Democrat votes they'll need to get the bill over the finish line. Bob Agnew reporting.
The Europeans, apparently the Canadians as well, promising retaliatory tariffs on American goods now that President Trump's 25% levies on steel and other metals imports have taken effect. The president, though, holding tight to his pro-tariff stance.
In the face of tumbling stock prices and increased worries about a recession, the White House says the president is unwavering in his approach to tariffs and trade. Asked about the recent Wall Street losses, the president said markets are going to go up and down. He went on to say that he believes what his administration is doing is the right thing to do, even if it means a little, in his words, disturbance. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Democratic U.S. Senator Jeanne Shaheen of New Hampshire announcing that she is not going to be running for re-election. Inflation cooled a bit last month, according to the government's Consumer Price Index. Prices rose 0.2% in February, the smallest month-to-month increase in 7 months. It was a better showing than economists had been expecting. And on Wall Street right now, the Dow is down 329 points, the Nasdaq 79 points higher, and the S&P is 7 points lower. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-885-3333. That's 800-885-3333. 800-885-3333.
Can a nation conceived in liberty carry its head high if it denies protection to the youngest and most vulnerable of its citizens? Can a country founded on God-given rights continue to thrive without understanding that life is a precious gift from our Creator? As a physician, I have looked into the eyes of 1-pound babies. I have cradled their small bodies in the palm of one hand. I defy those who are careless, who would disregard life and look at these tiny little miracles and say, we're not going to protect that. But I believe there will come a time when we are all judged on whether or not we took a stand in defense of all life from the moment of conception until our last natural breath. One thing I promise you, I will always take a stand for life.
This is a battle between truth and deceit, a battle between forces that would enslave this country in darkness and between a media that wants to present you with the truth. We are being censored. America's news outlets no longer provide the truth. 90% of news outlets in the United States are controlled by 6 corporations. The mission of the Epoch Times is to chase the truth, to ground all statements in fact.
TheEpochTimes.com. Looking for an IT partner that truly understands your needs? Managed IT Services is the answer. We meet with you regularly to discuss your goals and form a tailored technology plan. Our customers have called us a trusted advisor who delivers. When it comes to IT, we do it all. Firewalls, cloud storage, server migration, and more. Say goodbye to long-term contracts and hello to a team that earns your business month after month. Call 801-706-6980 now and let Managed IT Services transform your IT experience.
Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty Roundtable Radio Talk Show.
You're up. I can go. All right. Welcome back to Liberty Roundtable with your host, Sam Bushman, and his co-hosts, the Big Mig Bros, Lance Migliaccio and George Ballantine. You know, we keep fighting backstage here about this bill, what's in it, how many pages, yada, yada. I'm tired of it. I'm moving on, folks. We're moving on because we got some bigger fish to fry. How do you see this? The Maui police chief, John Pelletier, who gave the order to trap victims in the Lahaina fire, has now been named as a co-conspirator in the Diddy case. I mean, this just gets wilder and wilder. Do we talk about coincidences? I don't think so. There are no coincidences. But how is this guy so entrapped in the Maui fire? Now he's headlining the Diddy case, and of course he's denying all allegations. But another name is a football player, Odell Beckham Jr. He's another one that's named on it. So they're saying here, Pelletier forcibly took a Diddy victim at gunpoint from Vegas to California to be raped by Diddy by posing as a sheriff, executing a fake warrant, according to the lawsuit. Now, we do know that Pelletier used to be Las Vegas Metro cop. So, he probably still has uniforms and stuff. Who knows? But, I mean, it's disgusting. And, he's denying the allegations, but, I was talking to Lance about it. And Lance, you made a valid point to me yesterday. This is a lawsuit. This is not he's named in a lawsuit. He hasn't been arrested or charged or anything. So, I mean, are we going to see arrests?
And by the way, he's likely to get a grant, right?
He's likely to get a what?
Grant. He's likely to get funded and promoted or moved to the media or whatever it takes to preserve his life and his lifestyle, right?
Well, inadvertently, it'll be a grant to the George Soros district attorney that's prosecuting, that's handling the case, probably. Or to the judge.
And if it all goes well, then
it'll be a George Soros judge that's given
right?
the grant. You have to put Sam, you got to learn the system. You have to put the grants and the payments through layers. And that way, it all just becomes a coincidence. It all just becomes a coincidence when the charges are, when the civil case is dropped against him.
Yeah, and the only way to take apart those layers is to fund one bill at a time and find out where the money goes and put people in prison and all that kind of stuff, right?
Well, look.
All right.
We said it over and over again. I don't want to just drive the audience wild. But the bottom line is, until there's accountability and consequences, I don't care what you do. None of it's going to get fixed. Until some people see the inside of a jail or are on their way to Guantanamo Bay, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change because they're not going to be afraid. And I don't think that we'll get this Congress to cooperate in putting laws in place to support all these executive orders. So that's my last comment on that.
Agree. And this is criminal, though. What's going on here? And I don't know about this guy. He's what? He was in charge of the. What was he in charge of?
Well, it appears that he was the oversight on the Las Vegas shooting case, that public shooting.
Yeah.
Which people are going to tell you this is coincidence.
Did we ever get answers on that?
No. And this is the same guy that gave an order to trap the victims inside the Lahaina fire. He was telling them that they couldn't come out. And now he's been named as a co-conspirator in the Diddy case. How many times does something have to, does the same person have to be involved in something that it just gets worse and worse? And I'm hearing that what he did is he misrepresented to this alleged individual. He went up to him and acted like he was executing a fake warrant as a sheriff. And then he put the person in the vehicle and drove them all the way out to L.A. for them to be raped by P. Diddy. Now there's an allegation that this professional football player is involved in this. We've heard some things about that Drewski guy. There's a social media guy that supposedly he's involved. There's a lot of names been named. Nobody's been charged. Nobody's lost their civil case yet, and we haven't seen any real criminal charges because, as usual, when it comes to these big public figures, the FBI just seems to be taking. They're just taking their time. Not going to hurry these arrests up. But if it was Sam Bushman, they'd already be kicking in your front door.
Yeah, well, you got to understand they don't have enough time, gentlemen. They've only been at it for like 60 days or so. 70 days.
Yeah.
And then, who's counting really? They don't really have enough time to get that stuff done. I mean, come on, you got to give them a break.
Diddy's been going on for a year, isn't it? Isn't it a year now? I don't even know.
Wait a minute.
8
This
months?
guy's involved in Diddy now?
Yeah. Yeah, he's been named that he took a Diddy victim. And he took the victim, he took him at gunpoint from Vegas to California, which of course is, kidnapping in multi-state, which makes it a federal case. And he posed as a sheriff, and he executing a fake warrant. And then this individual claims that when they arrived in California, they were raped by P. Diddy.
We need to give this guy a Purple Heart, Lance. Don't you think?
I'm thinking of a lot of other solutions. I was thinking about a wood chipper, honestly.
I'm just joking. I'm just saying this is the kind of stuff. So here's my question. How are we letting this guy be involved going forward at all in anything? How do we let him all of a sudden deal with the Hawaii fires? And I mean, how do these people continue to get even promoted?
Well, they knew about some of these charges, and they still made him, the head in Maui. Maui, I understand, was understood that there was some stuff going on behind the scenes, but they still moved forward. Of course, there's lots of questions still circling around the Maui fire. A lot of people are saying that it was intentionally, created using, direct energy weapons. And their claim is because of the blue roofs and the blue cars that didn't get any damage.
There's just so much corruption going on with this guy from the Vegas shooting when he was a captain and the incident commander. He was tasked with managing that extensive crime scene, and we have so many unanswered questions.
I know. Here's what we need to do to shield this guy, to protect him from all this lawfare and everything. What we ought to do is just have him go work for Fox, don't you think? Just give him a big old Fox contract and he's good.
Yeah. Or you can get a big cushy job at one of the big universities or institutions, maybe at Harvard as top of security.
So he was working private security for Combs at that time, by the way.
Harvard,
He was working private security for Combs at that time. That's what he was hired to do.
And this is just slimy all the way through. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know how he's connected, but this should let's face it. He committed a federal crime. Federally indict him. If that's the truth, go find the victim, as the FBI should, and arrest him, and then hold his feet to the fire and see who he snitches on. We're just not seeing enough of that, Sam. We're just not seeing that snitch.
You know how you can validate these claims? Because the woman who was, it's sad to say this, who was raped and abused and kidnapped, she actually says she slashed P. Diddy on the abdomen. That's how she got away. So I mean, let's look and see if there's any scars on the abdomen. Can we see the abdomen? What?
You can't do that, buddy.
Why not? It's
There's
evidence,
not enough
man.
time. You got to give him time to work on this, man. You're just jumping a gun, You got to hang out.
Nah, I would go right down to Brooklyn, Federal Holding, and bring P. Diddy down to the infirmary. Lift up, open your jumper, whatever he's wearing. Let me see. Let's take some pictures. There's a scar.
So do you expect this case to go anywhere, gentlemen, is the real question?
He's set for trial this year, I think in August, I think it is. I forget. We'll see. Listen, you have Odell Beckham Jr., you have the singer Jaguar Wright and Keith Lux, a.k.a. Big Homie CC. And I think there's a few more, but those are some notable names that are on this complaint. So.
Yeah, so this guy's name is what? John Pelletier or whatever? So, do you think John's going to jail?
He wasn't criminally charged. This is a lawsuit, so I don't know if the government's going to charge. We'll see. I mean, listen, they just keep a lot of things have been handed down for Kash Patel and Pam Bond to do something about it. So, the question is, are they going to do it? We'll see.
What do you say, Lance? Do you think that there's going to be accountability here?
That's such a loaded question for me because I've been complaining about this for weeks now. So I really don't know. I'm concerned.
They've seen more time.
I'm really happy about the FBI picks. and again, I know they're going through this process that they're claiming they've got to investigate. I know there's been some statements made on shows by other individuals saying, like Lena Habba said some things that we're going to see some Epstein arrests. But, I mean, they're moving at a snail's pace.
You can't even get the files released.
Stone,
You're not going to see
if it was
any
Roger
Epstein
Stone,
arrest.
if it was Mike Flynn, General Mike Flynn, if it was George Papadopoulos, they don't move like a snail. They move rapidly to make arrests, and they make it very public. I don't know if this guy's going to face consequences. I don't know if anybody. I still don't trust the story about the Las Vegas shooting. I don't trust the 9/11 story. I want to know the real bottom line of the Seth Rich execution. I still want to know about the RFK and JFK and MLK assassinations. They keep treating us. But I don't
you
like
guys think we're going to get any of these files?
I don't know. But here's my comment, Sam, and I can say this really heartfelt. I don't need another mother and father. I already had one. My father's passed away. My mom's still alive. I don't need daddy government to filter and redact and let me and tell me, well, you can have this, but you can't have that. You can see this, but you can't know that. You listen, I think they've forgotten it's government for the people, by the people, and we're paying their paychecks. They work on behalf of the American public, not so they can filter stuff and decide what we should or shouldn't know. So it doesn't matter whether it's the Trump administration or any other administration prior. I'm tired of the cover-ups. I'm tired of the lies. Put it all on the line. Stop letting me stop. You need to stop deciding for me what you think I can or can't handle. I feel like it's that line out of the movie. You can't handle the truth. I can handle the truth, Sam, and I'm sure you can also, and so can George. Enough's enough. Stop with the cover-ups. Put it all out there. Let the chips fall where they may. And if a bunch of people need to go to jail in the process, so be it.
I couldn't agree more. Do you think we're going to get the answers to the JFK files and to the Jeffrey Epstein files and everything else, George?
Well, I had high hopes, Sam, but after recently seeing when Pam Bondi came out and she said, she has the Epstein files on her desk and talked just so much stuff, it's heartening, whatever, yada, 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 yada. And she said they're going to release it, and then all of a sudden you get this botched release, 200 pages, which was out a few years ago, tells me, no, we're not going to see it, that we're getting shafted. Plain and simple. Because you know what? And I keep I'm reserving judgment. I'm gonna give them time, a little time, because listen,
how
we're
much
friends
time?
with
how much time do you think it's going to take till we can start?
We're
to
friends
say,
with
hey.
Kash Patel. He said they're going to release it all. Just like if you've seen recently that Seth Richard laptop. Now the FBI says they're not going to release it. But wait a minute.
Of course not.
Kash Patel is head at FBI. He said he was going to release all that stuff.
Yeah, so who's saying they're not going to release it? Who's in charge of that?
I don't know. But I know the head of the FBI, the number one boss there is Kash Patel. So
yeah. You know what? Walks like a duck, talks like a duck. It's a duck. And I think we're getting the duck.
Talk about USAID, speaking of ducks, Lance.
I mean, USAID is just turned into this festering pool of theft. It just gets worse and worse. And now these ex-employees or whatever they are, I don't even know what their status is, they have sent out an email, and it's an order to all the remaining staffers to shred and burn all your documents, including classified ones. Now, that's a crime. There's a requirement
not
to
really.
maintain
No,
records.
hold on, Lance. Not really. It's only a crime if somebody prosecutes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. Good point, Sam. That's a very good point. But, I mean, look, shred, and listen to the wording on this. Shred as many documents first and reserve the burn bags for when the shredder becomes unavailable or needs a break. And she said she ordered all the staff to label the burn bags with the words secret and USAID BIO in dark Sharpie, which you know what that means. You can't open those burn bags. You have to have clearance to even go back into the burn bags. So that means all the classified documents are being burned. I mean, if this should have had immediate and decisive action by everybody in the FBI. Kash Patel said, go in the building and arrest every single individual in there. Go to the homes of every single individual and arrest them all. They should have been arrested in mass.
Amen.
Imagine if they came to your house saying, oh, sorry, it's all in burn bags. You can't look at my hard drives. They're all in burn bags.
That's correct. Dang right. See, this is what I'm saying, folks, is I just, the reason I don't have any confidence is because I don't even see. Let me give you one last point to make this point. Headline says, Trump says White House cocaine belonged to either Joe Biden or Hunter. Resist the mainstream with a piece. The bag of cocaine was discovered July 2nd, 2024. Or no, 2023, sorry. So it's been, a year and a half. The Secret Service launched an investigation but couldn't find out who done it there. Trump expressed his skepticism over the handling of the investigation, claiming the evidence appears to have been tampered with. But here's the question. Is Trump going to speculate that, it went wrong? Or are we going to arrest people? How many people are in jail due to drugs right now? Either cocaine or marijuana or minor drugs. Now, I'm not defending drug use. What I'm saying, though, is, hey, all these people are in prison, but yet, hey, you can't really get to the bottom of this, and Trump's going to speculate a year and a half later. Who's getting to the bottom of this thing? And will there be any accountability for this? Hunter just got the chance to go free. He shouldn't even have fines, right?
Yeah. It's once again, no consequences. I mean, listen, if George Ballantine rolled into the White House with a fat sack, not that he would. George, what would happen to you?
I'd be calling you out for bail.
Exactly. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. He'd be calling for bail. And that's the problem. Rules for thee, not for me. Equal application of the law? No, we'll just throw that into the shredder or a burn bag. Listen. Equal protection under the law? Nope, we'll just throw that into the shredder or the burn bag. At the end of the day, the law is only being applied one way. And that's my biggest complaint about this administration and this government. The oversight agencies for the DOJ, they're all DOJ agencies. So how do you get any accountability? It doesn't matter whether you've been injured by the federal government. And why should you ask that please, sir, can I file a tort claim to get my money back for my damages? Sir, no, we're not going to allow you to file a tort claim. And then you file a tort claim, and the first thing they say is, well, you weren't approved by the DOJ to file this tort claim. That's the DOJ approving somebody to sue the DOJ. The system is so flawed, and I'm just not that guy. All I can say is for the American public, if they don't like Donald Trump, they should thank God every night that I'm not the president of the United States right now. Because I can tell you, I would swiftly and viciously go after every single one of these corrupt individuals.
I agree, Lance, and that's my whole point for the last couple of hours, that we're being punked at the highest levels by the deep state, and no one seems to realize it. Except for folks like maybe me and Lance. Most folks are like, give them a chance. Let's go along. Be patient. Okay, look, did they fund Mighty Mouse? I guess this is Mighty Mouse Extraordinaire. Did they fund that in the latest budget? What do you think, Lance?
Maybe Minnie Mouse.
No, there's things like a mammoth mouse.
Yeah, anything is possible, right? Anything's possible. At the end of the day, I don't think you can underestimate the depravity and the corruption that's still there. Just because Trump put his administration in doesn't mean that he doesn't have, horrible, even in his own administration, but horrible people that are surrounding him on all sides. These are some human beings that really believe they're demigods. They believe that when they got that government job as congressional members or for the FBI or as directors or secretaries for running different divisions, they felt right away, and they were told by others, just wait. It's a license to steal. It's unbelievable. And we're going to have gangbangs, and we're going to have sex parties, and we're going to be able to do drugs in the White House and not get arrested. And that's what's been going on. And at the end of the day, it's not fair to regular Americans. Because here's my point. If they don't have to follow the law, then I don't want to follow the law either. Then I want the Big Mig show team. I want George and I to be able to go on a crime spree, and I want to know that I'm not going to get charged. I want to be able to do all the same crimes and all the same things and have all the same rights if they're not going to. And that's the message they're sending to the American public. They're saying to George Ballantine, hey, George, we're not going to charge any people in government for all the crimes that you've been told you can't do. So go ahead, man. Do whatever you want.
I need to go.
It's not really the truth, but at the end of the day, it's a setup.
Well, and it's for the interest and betterment of the country that we got to do that, right?
No, it's for national
That's
security.
what they want you to believe. Now,
I mean,
tell
if
everybody
Pam
about
Bondi
this
would have
Minnie
you
Mouse
believe it's for
story,
national
Lance.
security
This is
interests that
critical.
we can't go out and arrest these people. I want some swift justice. I
Yeah.
want it to start happening now, not next week. I want to start seeing arrests. I want to see Nancy Pelosi arrested for insider trading. I want Hillary Clinton arrested for the bleach-bitten hammer of those hard drives. And I don't want them to go to regular court. I want them to go to guilty till proven innocent military court, right? A military tribunal is guilty till proven innocent. I want them to go sit down in Gipno in their orange suits in those hot containers with limited resources, and I don't want them to be out on bond or bail. I want them to face the consequences for how they've treated this country for decades. They've milked it, they've stolen from it, they've screwed over the American public, and enough's enough. I want to see some justice, and I want to see it now. And no, I'm not patient. My patience is running thin, and it's not because I'm angry at this administration.
I understand the concern. I'm a due process guy, but I do get your point, and I don't disagree. Something's got to be done, and we're not doing any of it. Tell everybody about this mammoth mice story really quick before the end of the hour, Lance.
Yeah, the bottom line is that, and I'm not sure we're not screwing with something we shouldn't be, but these scientists have created these woolly mice. And was it government funded, Sam? Did the money come from USAID or some other source? I have no idea, but they've basically genetically modified regular mice. I mean, they're cute as a bug. My wife saw them and she said, I'd like a couple of those right away. They're little fuzzy and they look like the fur. They're brown and they look like the fur on what you imagine a woolly mammoth looked like, at least by the pictures we've been shown of it. And they're saying this is the next step forward into creating a woolly mammoth elephant. But, my question is when do we screw with something and when do we start, letting this go to our head and think that we're going to make decisions and make ourselves basically gods?
Yeah, well, we're going to keep funding Planned Parenthood, but feel good. I went and pulled up the bill that George gave me, and I typed in the word mouse, and it doesn't appear, so I don't think we're funding it anymore.
No, they're not funding the woolly mouse, right? But you don't know, because what if they funded an NGO that's funding the woolly mammoth mouse?
Yeah, see, then you can't know, but that's my whole point. That's what I've been saying the whole time, is that reading the bill doesn't help me know anything.
Yeah, of course.
In fact, if you read the bill, by the way, what it does is it refers to other bills, and it says, per this bill, replace this much dollars with this much dollars, replace $4 billion with $3,876,000, and so I can't even really know what I'm reading is the problem.
Yeah. Well, maybe the woolly mouse.
So I can read 99 pages of that, but when I get done, I won't know more than when I started. And if I look for a total amount on the bill, it doesn't have one. So, how dumb am I? I can't figure it out.
The woolly mammoth mouse project is safe. Maybe it's not. Maybe they lied. Maybe they didn't. We'll never get to the bottom of this. We know that we have mice that now look like little mini woolly mammoths.
But I have an idea. Hey, I have an idea. If you don't pay your IRS taxes unless you're Hunter, we're going to send one of these new woolies after you, buddy.
That's it. They are cute. They're cute as a bug. I can't blame my wife for wanting some.
Anyway, I know that truth is stranger than fiction, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't mean to be super negative. I personally believe this. Trump is doing his very best, and he's off to a great start. I personally think he is being undermined by Congress and by the courts. And if anybody should be angry about that, it should be you and I. And what do we need to do? Punish them at the next polls. All 435 clowns could be gone. Let's see, when would it be? 2026 or 2027? When is it?
I think
2026, right?
Yeah, I think it's 26.
What?
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, in about a year and a half, you can get rid of all 435 clowns. Will you help me do it? That's the only question left. Vote them out when in doubt, people. That's all I'm saying. Whenever you don't know about a bill or you can't read a bill, you should vote against it on principle. And whenever you have a doubt, vote them out, because they're clowns and they're out of control. And the only way to get this back is to have true transparency and accountability. And I don't see that we're seeing it at all. I wish we were, but I don't have confidence because I can't even find out basic information. And all the Republicans and Democrats go on the mainstream press enemy press corps, and none of them will engage with us at all. I still signed up for the whitehouse.gov/new media, and I haven't heard back. Have you, gentlemen?
No, No, nothing, not a squeak. Although I see some people
I rest,
posting about how they got in there.
I rest my case. God save.